A one-word question for you, SC. Surprised?
No. You know, Trump has, I think, in business and life, operated as a sort of punitive force. I think he really likes to punish people, to sort of send a message or make examples or look like the strong man, the tough guy. And he's long wanted to punish the press, and labeling us fake news, labeling us the enemy of the people has actually been very effective. As you know, trust in the media is at an all-time low. So this is having a significant impact. The difference now, I think, is that finally our news institution, our media, our press is sort of uniting around, in solidarity, around each other. And that is something you and I, Brian, have talked about a number of times that we used to see in past administrations. Jake Tapper calling out President Obama for discrediting Fox News, or other organizations calling out the Obama administration for targeting the AP, or trying to keep Fox out of the press pool for an interview. There were those moments of solidarity. They had not happened under Trump until the past few weeks, starting with John Roberts of Fox really sort of being pressured to make a statement about Trump's calling CNN and Jim Acosta not a real news network. He eventually did write a statement, release a statement defending CNN. The week following that, you had Hallie Jackson, an NBC News reporter, who was trying to press Sarah Sanders in a press briefing. She wasn't getting answers. Another Hill reporter ceded his time back to her. Those moments of solidarity, including the Caitlin Collins incident, are a really welcome a show of strength and show of force that I think has really taken too long.
Yeah, there have been several episodes, but Olivia, let me be cynical for a second. Are we really going to see this frequently, or were these just one-offs?
Well, most of the time you don't see it at all, because what we're doing is we're having this conversation behind the scenes. The WHCA is meeting with Sarah Sanders and other communications officials to work out our problems behind the scenes. And again, it's not typically this heated. What we often have debates and arguments about how much the press will see on a foreign trip, for example. Can we get the pool, that is to say, the small group of 13 or so outlets that follow the president everywhere? Can we make sure that they stay in the motorcade? Can we make sure that they see the president actually meet with, say, British Prime Minister Theresa May? So a lot of the solidarity, a lot of the work is happening behind the scenes. But this was a very public moment. They made a decision to exclude Caitlin Collins of CNN from an event from which literally every other credentialed reporter at the White House that day could attend.
Yeah, and it seems like, you know, if Trump has been wanting this for a long time, the X factor here was Bill Shine. He's new on the job. He's a new comms chief. Maybe he just kind of fell for it, and now he saw the reaction. Hey, real quick, one more story to touch on, Katie. You and Maggie Haberman reported this week about an amazing leak out of the White House. It was this email that showed how Trump was angry when he boarded Air Force One and saw that Melania's TV was tuned to CNN. What happened here? He wants all the TVs tuned to Fox?
He wants all the TVs tuned to Fox. It's now standard operating procedure when the president boards Air Force One that all TVs will be on Fox. When he returns to his hotel suite when traveling, the TVs will be tuned to Fox. I think with the emails, I mean, the emails are, they're a smaller example of this broader issue going on, that the president does not want to take in opposing or possibly opposing views. And he's at a phase in his presidency where he does not want to hear anything other than his own messaging or supportive messaging. And the emails are just a small example that illustrate this larger issue.
And Melania Trump won. Her team put out a statement saying she will watch whatever channel she wants.
And she did give that statement to your network.
That's right. That's right. Of all the places she could have issued that statement to, she gave it to CNN.
She sure did.
To the panel, thanks. SC, stick around if you can. Up next, here the reporter who exposed lies every night on your TV. So here's a humble proposal for the press. We should spend a lot more time on the facts and less time on the desperate spin about the facts. Yeah, I'm mostly talking about Rudy Giuliani and how he's trying to distance Team Trump from the president's longtime fixer and lawyer, Michael Cohen. Of course, Rudy's spin is desperate, kind of sad, but we all know the truth will come out eventually. I don't know about you, but I just feel like it's taking a long time to get to the truth. Let's talk about all of it with a reporter whose byline graced all the stories about Watergate 45 years ago and whose byline is now back this week on the scoop about Cohen and Trump. Here's the headline you've seen. Cohen claims Trump knew in advance about that pivotal Trump Tower meeting. Carl Bernstein worked on that story with Jim Sciutto, and he joins me now. So, Carl, talk to me about this most recent story. You've been saying for a year that we need to follow the money, follow the lies, and figure out this cover-up. So how did you do it in this case? Talk to us about how you got this reporting.
Well, I talked to sources, and as did Jim Sciutto, and it became very apparent that the former attorney to the President of the United States was going around and telling people that the famous Trump Tower meeting, which indeed was convened for the purpose of collusion, which is to say it was convened by Don Jr. to accept information from the Russians about dirt on Hillary Clinton, that indeed Cohen was saying that Donald Trump, the candidate for President of the United States at the time, had authorized the go-ahead for that meeting to take place with his son. And I said, this is news. As did CNN. So like in Watergate, you have a very serious news organization, CNN, in Watergate, the Washington Post, making judgments about what is news. And that's really the most important thing that we do when we go out and do our reporting and then decide what is news and what is the best obtainable version of the truth.
Are sources trying to communicate to President Trump through you and through Sciutto and through the TV?
The last thing I would ever do is speculate about what sources do. I make my own judgments based on my interaction with sources, but this is no time to be psychoanalyzing sources on the air or anywhere else.
I agree with you.
What we put out there as news is what the story is. But let me say one other thing. You set this up, Brian, in saying about Giuliani and about Cohen. We do not know who is telling the truth here. That is to be determined. What is significant is that the president's former lawyer is asserting that he is telling the truth when he says that Donald Trump, now the president of the United States, authorized this meeting. That is huge news. Who is telling the truth is yet to be determined.
We know both men have contradicted themselves in the past. That's what I find so frustrating about the spin aspect of this. You know, Rudy's out there trashing Cohen as a liar now, but in the past, Rudy said he's a fair guy. Cohen used to be praising Trump. Now he's flipping on Trump. I think people just don't know what or who to believe, and that's a hard thing for the audience.
Well, that was true in Watergate, too, when John Dean testified. And I was doing with Bob Woodward the story saying that Dean was about to testify, much as Cohen is asserting what he is about the President of the United States. People didn't know who to believe. It's very important to understand, and this is a good opportunity on your air to explain that this is a story, the Russian collusion, cover-up, story, what indeed Donald Trump's relationship to Russia, to Putin is. This is a vast story, the Mueller investigation. And the elements include, for instance, we have trials coming up at which Rick Gates, who was one of the top aides to the president during the campaign, to whom the president spoke almost every day for 3 or 4 months, he has turned on the president and is about to testify and is cooperating with Mueller. We have the story going on of the dynamic of Trump and the press. That is part of this story. It's all related. We also have the questions about Trump's competence raised by those closest to him, Mr. Tillerson, Mr. McMaster in private, others, talking about whether or not the president is competent. We have the story going on about this investigation closing in and how psychologically Trump is reacting, telling the country that he is a stable genius, while those in the White House are saying, well, he doesn't look very stable right now to us, and he doesn't look very much like a genius to us right now, except where he obviously is ingenious, and that is in his political skills and mobilizing his base, which is his big offensive to keep the facts from emerging in this story. The base and keeping them energized against the press is absolutely essential to Donald Trump fighting and furthering the cover-up. Look, there is a cover-up by the President of the United States, but we don't know what the cover-up is about yet. We don't know the facts yet, why he has from the beginning in this investigation, and the Trump Tower meeting is the best evidence of it. The cover-up is demonstrable because he helped create the cover story on the airplane, which has since been disproven about what occurred at that meeting. So we've got a lot to learn, and we need to keep doing our reporting, and that includes this dynamic that is going on of the attempts by the president to undermine a free press because he wants our credibility destroyed because we are reporting the truth.
Yes, he does want it destroyed. Carl, thank you so much for being here. Up next, FCC Commissioner Jessica Rosenworcel is here. She's going to tell us why President Trump has got it so wrong.